Hi there and welcome to another episode of the Business Automation Show. My name is Uwe, I'm the founder of InvoiceBerry, a simple and user-friendly way of sending out invoices to your clients. We've got a lot of solopreneurs, freelancers and small business owners using our software, and they often want to connect it with a document signing tool such as Signeasy in order to only start working once their terms and conditions or their contract, their agreement has been signed. A lot of our YouTube tutorials so far in the Business Automation Show are about sending out an invoice or adding a client in InvoiceBerry and then sending them the contract. But this can also happen vice versa. So you could send a new contract to your customer using Signeasy, and then you can create an invoice in your InvoiceBerry account for that customer. So let's try this today. So we're using Signeasy, Zapier and InvoiceBerry. In the first step, we will connect those accounts with Zapier so that they talk to each other. Then we will create a document that needs to be signed in Signeasy, and then we will automatically create an invoice with InvoiceBerry. So the use case for that is whenever your customer signs a contract, you automatically can send their invoice to them. If you're a coach or consultant, if you offer a program, you might first want them to sign a contract or a release form or something along the lines of telling them the rules of your program, of your coaching, of your consulting, and then you will send their invoices. This could also be for a cleaning business that they sign a contract and then you automatically set up a recurring invoice profile that invoices them on a monthly basis whenever you've done your work. So let's get right into it. Let me go into my Zapier account and let's search here for Signeasy as the trigger, and then as the action we search for InvoiceBerry. So the trigger, there's only one trigger, which is document signed, and then what do we want to do? We either want to create a recurring invoice profile, so that means that once they sign their contract, we might set up a recurring invoice profile saying we want to charge them once a month $100. We could also just set them up as a client within InvoiceBerry, or we can create a one-off invoice for that client. Let's just say we create a one-off invoice. Let's click on try it. Okay, so as a first step, we have to connect Signeasy to Zapier and then InvoiceBerry to Zapier. Let's do that right now. Let's click here on sign in. All right, perfect. So let's just click on accept. Okay, perfect. So we've connected our Signeasy account. Let's click on continue. And now we need a test trigger. I click on that button and it's going to load some data. Because I haven't signed any documents yet, I actually need to do that first. So it tells us here, create a new document and sign it, and then we can test it again. So let's get into Signeasy. And I've got a template here. So I can just use my template, or you can just create a new signed document. In this case, I just say send for signature. Okay, so I will send it to myself. All right, so I've sent the document to get signed by my customer. I also have to sign it myself, so I can show you. I do both of the signatures right now. Okay, perfect. So I signed the document, and because we're just testing it here, I'm obviously also gonna sign as my customer. I just go into my email account and do that quickly. Okay, so I just got to the document as my customer. Let me just write here, customer Uwe, and I just use this, and I finish signing. So now we have a fully signed contract, and I can go back to Zapier and again request the test trigger, and let's have a look. Perfect. So now we have this one test document in order to test our Zapier integration. If you already had documents, then you don't have to do that. It just automatically loads your last document. And let's click on continue. Now I have to choose my InvoiceBerry account. I've already got my account set up, so I'm using that one. I just quickly show you how to connect your InvoiceBerry account. You will be asked for your API key and your API password. So once you're in your InvoiceBerry account, just click on settings and then on main settings and on integration. And here under API preferences, you will find the API key and password. If you haven't used any yet, you might have a button here saying request new API key and password. So just press a button and you will instantly receive your key and password, which you can copy paste, and then you can connect your InvoiceBerry account. So let's click on continue. And now we have to set up our invoice. If you want to invoice an existing client, you can select the client ID here. Or if you want to set up a new client, you would do so here. So you just click here and you can use any of the information you received from Signeasy. Let's have a look here. There's quite a bit of information available. So you could choose the pending file owner first name and probably also the last name. We don't need any of these information. We want the client email address. So that email address and probably the client first name. We can get it here, and the client last name. This information, we don't get them from Signeasy. If you have additional fields and you can get them, that's great. Otherwise, we leave it empty. You can always later edit your client in InvoiceBerry. The currency you have to select in order to create the invoice. So let's just select US dollars. And now the date of issue, we could just say today. You can just type certain formats such as today or now into Zapier and it will transform into today's date. Now, what else do we want here? Let's say the item description. This is our product or service that we're selling. So let's say our monthly retainer for agency services. The unit cost, let's say, will be $1,000 and the quantity is 1. You can set up taxes if you want. And then we also say we want to automatically send the invoice. So send invoice, and we will select yes. And let's say that's it. Let's click on continue. As you can see, I filled out a few of the fields, but a lot of them are left empty, but you can obviously fill them out if you wish to do so. Let's click on test action and see what happens. All right, it seems to have worked. Let's go into our InvoiceBerry account. I click on invoices and here's the new client, $1,000, and let's click on the invoice number. Perfect. The monthly retainer for the agency services is here, and obviously I don't have a logo in my account right now, and there are a few other things that I could improve in my own test account, but that's about it. Make sure to click on publish in order to set that automation live. So whenever you now have someone sign one of your Signeasy documents, it will automatically create an invoice for them in InvoiceBerry. You could also just set up the client in InvoiceBerry or a recurring invoice profile to even further automate your invoicing. Thanks a lot for listening, and if you've got any questions whatsoever, always feel free to leave them in the comments below. Happy invoicing and bye bye.